It says that I am live, so let me get this together here. Good evening. Good evening, Right Recipe for Travel family. How you doing this evening? Hello, everyone. Good evening. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if I am loud enough or too loud. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I see. Thank you for coming in and sharing your Tuesday with me. I appreciate it. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm going to give people time to come in. And of course, like I do every Tuesday Night Live, drop down in the chat where you are watching from. Where are you watching from? And of course, help me out, and it's completely free to do it. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, tap down on that like. And if you know somebody who would enjoy cruise news and chatting on a Tuesday with fun, good people, share it. It doesn't cost you anything to like and share. Yes, good evening. Let me know where you are viewing from. Thank you. I see those hearts and those likes going up. I appreciate it very much. There are a lot of things that we could be doing on a Tuesday night. So I appreciate that you are doing this with me. Let me know where you are viewing from. I have my notes here. I try to keep it together so I can keep it flowing and make sure we don't go over time and I get to everything that I'm supposed to get to, because there's always so much to talk about when it comes to traveling, cruise news, just news in general, which actually I try to stay from just news in general because to me it's depressing in general. But we got to stay up on what's going on. Not on this channel necessarily, but we need to know what's happening. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. I see you. There we go. Let me see, make sure I got this together here, and I do. Yes, I do. Okay. It says I can be a little bit louder. Whoever said that to me. All right. Well, welcome to Tuesday Night Live for Right Recipe for Travel. I have a lot to share with you this evening. And if you have questions that you need to know or things about cruising that you want to ask, go ahead and drop it there in the chat. I want to tell you first about what I'm doing tomorrow, which has nothing to do with cruising, but I want to share a little bit about what I am doing. I am headed to the State Fair of Texas tomorrow. Yeah. I have been going. It's so funny. When I moved here to this part of Texas, I never went to the state fair. I think I had lived here 20 plus years and had never been. And now I've been going for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years in a row. So I am headed to the State Fair of Texas tomorrow. So be on the lookout for my videos. I'm going to, of course, show you the food, all of that wonderful food. The food is like the big draw for me. I don't ride those rides. They're kind of wild and crazy. So I don't ride those rides, but I like to show them. But I like to go and try out all the new foods. They usually have some stuff that's you never heard of before, and you're like, what is this? So tomorrow I'm going, and we're gonna have some fun at the State Fair of Texas, the largest state fair out there. That's going to be fun. And the weather right now here in this part of Texas in October is hot. But it's perfect to go to the fair. It's not in the 90s usually. I think it did hit 90 the other day, but now we're in like the high 80s, a nice breeze. There's no rain, so it'll be a little warm, but still I think it'll be a very nice day to go to the fair. So that's what I am doing tomorrow. What are you doing tomorrow? Drop it down in the chat. Do you have any fun plans for this week or this weekend? Or is it stuff like I'm cleaning out the garage? The other stuff that we have to do every week. Yeah. I'm also getting ready to figure out what I'm wearing on my MSC cruise coming up next month. So I'm not going to pack yet, but I have to start figuring out what I'm going to wear. That's a whole other story. But that's what's going on with me. Let me tell you some of the things going on in cruise news. I have these stories all pulled up here. And also, I have a bunch of questions for you. We got some trivia going on tonight, and I have some questions I want to ask you. And just, it's fun to engage. So follow along and answer those questions. If you drop them in the chat, that'll be really cool. I have the first question, then I'm going to jump into the first cruise news story. My first question, and I have notes everywhere, so I'm looking everywhere. What is the funniest thing that has ever happened to you on a cruise? Make sure that it stays PG. Thank you very much. My grandkids watch this sometimes. Make sure it stays PG. But tell me your funniest cruise story. What's one of the funniest things that ever happened to you? I'm going to share two. And I was thinking about it before the live came on, and I'm like, I guess you had to be there because you probably will think, Cynthia, that's not funny. But when it happened, we all just was like, oh my gosh. It was one of our earlier cruises, like back in early 2000s, right? 2003 or 6, something like that. And we were sitting down right when we had just come onto the cruise and put our bags away. And we were like sitting there just after, I think it was just after muster. And so the gentleman was going around with the tray and he was like, drinks, anybody? Would you like drinks? Drinks, anybody? And he came up to my mom who doesn't drink. And he's like, do you want a drink? And she's like, well, what do you have for free? And he said, everything, sorry. And me and my sister just looked at each other like, and we rolled our eyes and chuckled because I thought he had said to my mother, everything. And because he didn't stand there and tell her every drink, he had said, sorry. So she's like, oh, no. Mm-mm. He walked off. And then she turned and looked at us and said, you know, that guy stepped on my foot like 4 times. And we said, what? She said, yeah, he was just stepping on my foot. And so that's why he said sorry. And we were like, oh, that's why he said sorry. We thought he said everything sorry because he told you everything was free. And we just thought that was funny. So even now, years later, sometimes, when the answer to a question is everything, we'll go, everything, sorry. I know. It was funny then. I'm still laughing about it now. It was hilarious. Second story, we went to some cruise port. Don't make me tell you which one because I don't know. But it was raining, right? Like, wow, something shocking, raining on a cruise port. And when you exited off the ship before you got outside, they were handing out little plastic rain jackets, the really flimsy dollar store kind you throw on and it tears right away. Well, hey, they were handing those out. And so we grabbed one and we put it on and we went and did our excursion and came back. And because it was so wet and soggy and rainy, we didn't stay long. So we were coming back, running in with our little dollar store rain jackets on. And this one guy, and he was so country. I'm already laughing. It was already funny just because he was so country. And I'm not saying he was funny because he's country. I just did not expect in this tropical island, just to hear that accent. And he says to us as we run in, hey, y'all, where'd y'all get the rain suits? And we looked because in my life, I had never heard anybody call those little flimsy rain jackets rain suits. And he's like, hey, y'all, where y'all get them rain suits? And we just laughed at him. We're like, they're passing them out over there. And he's like, all right. So sorry, y'all, but this is my channel, so I had to share. Those are my 2 funniest cruise stories. I'm sure something else funny happened too, but there you go. I want to hear about yours. So let me tell you about a couple of stories that they're not funny. They're not funny. You're not going to like them probably. I didn't like them when I read them. And these are both Norwegian Cruise Line stories. So I'm going to read it to you. The first one is Norwegian Cruise Line adds dining limit on room service. So as we all know, us cruisers out there, that room service has changed since the pandemic. It used to be free. It's not free anymore. So here we go. So they're adding limits. So now what Norwegian Cruise Line is doing is saying for every person in the room, you can order 1 hot item and 1 cold item. And so, of course, that's raised more questions than answers. What's 1 hot item and 1 cold item? Let me read a few things it says here. Norwegian Cruise Line is now limiting how many items guests can order from room service at once to 1 hot item and 1 cold item per person. There are already fees for room service, and I'm going to tell you how much those fees are in a minute. So Oh, I'm going to tell you the new fee that's also in the main dining room too. This is a very recent change. It's so recent that not all Norwegian cruise ships even are doing it yet, but some are, and people are reporting that they've been charged, especially on, it says here, the Norwegian Sun. Yeah. It says they're doing this to cut down on waste. I'm pretty sure they're doing it to get more money, but that's what they said. For example, people want to know, so you say one hot item, one cold item. Does that mean a pot of coffee that can serve multiple people? Is that considered one hot item? Or is that two items if two guests are in the room and they're going to drink that hot coffee? They don't have the answer yet. It says right now there is no confirmed answer to that type of question, and it's also unknown whether this change is fleet-wide already. But some people are stating that it didn't happen to them on their Norwegian cruise, and others are saying it did. The menu on Norwegian Cruise Line, the room service menu, is extensive, so there's a lot of choices. And they even have full meal options, but that is the new change that's going on. There is already a $4.95 delivery fee if you order room service during breakfast. And then there is a $9.95 delivery fee for the all day. And then that's on top of the 20% gratuity that's already added. So guests are not happy about these new limitations. And it also states that although these limitations have now been given, the fees didn't go down. It's still the same fee. I can get less, but you're still charging me the same amount. So people are not pleased about that. Has anybody been on Norwegian, especially Norwegian Sun lately, and been charged these fees? Yeah, because like so far we're hearing it's not all of the ships. I'm just reading here. I'm sorry. What do you think? Any response to this one? I told you wouldn't necessarily like it. We know, unfortunately, that it's been a lot of limits and things being taken away, but charges going up for cruising. And it's just the nature of it. I know, but it's not good. We don't like it. We don't like it at all. That's not all going on with Norwegian. Let me share a little bit more. Now, if you're on a Norwegian cruise ship and you're in the main dining room, you need to pay $5 for any additional entree that you eat there in the main dining room. Some cruise lines have already started implementing something similar to this, where you can have your main entree, and then let's say you don't like it. You're like, oh, this, I don't like this, bring me another. They don't charge you for that. But if you say, oh, that, for instance, that pork chop was great, can I get another one? Yes, $5. Yes, $5. Norwegian is charging you a $5 fee for every extra entree. You get one for free. And then after that, $5. What do you think? Is that a problem? I mean, we kind of, do you eat more than one entree? They give us bread service, and then they give us a starter or a salad or a soup, and then you have the entree. Do you usually want more than one? If you do on Norwegian, it's going to cost you $5. And that's not all. Let's just get all of the kind of out of the way first, then we can talk about some happier stuff. There's more stuff going on with Norwegian. And when I say stuff, I mean changes that will cost us more. Norwegian's drink package, which we've discussed drink packages on here, total waste of money for me, but so many people get them and save money if you know that you're going to drink. All right. So Norwegian's drink package is called More at Sea. That's their beverage package. And when I say drink package, I'm talking, of course, about alcoholic beverages. There's all different types of packages. Let's just keep in our thoughts the alcohol package, right? Okay. It's called More at Sea. And anytime Norwegian would go to their private island, Great Stirrup Cay, you could use your drink package there on the private island. Of course, it's their island. You bought the drink package. Well, no more. Effective March 1st of 2026, the drink package will no longer be honored on Great Stirrup Cay. So if you bought the drink package on a Norwegian cruise, you get off on the private island, beginning March 1st, you will have to purchase either the drinks a la carte, or they are offering you a new separate drink package just for the island. So you would have to purchase 2 drink packages if you want to drink on the island. Right now, they are not saying what the name of this drink package is, nor have they given us the price so far of what this new drink package will cost. They say keep watching. That information will be out soon. Let me see. Let me look at what else it's saying. Yeah, they're just not giving us more information. But they let us know count your days, because effective March 1st, you will pay more. And people are saying it's already so expensive on these private islands. Sometimes you have to pay for the loungers, you have to pay for towels, or sometimes appetizers. I'm hoping that's not true, because on the private islands I've been to, stuff like that has still been free. I don't know. I haven't been to Norwegian's private island in, gosh, it's so long. So I'm not sure. Anyone know? Is that stuff really, you have to pay for that now? Yeah, well, you're going to have to pay for the drink package. So one hot, one cold item out of room service, $5 for an extra entree in the main dining room. And effective March 1st, the drink package will no longer be available there to use once you get onto the private island. So just keep that in mind for Norwegian Cruise Lines. If you are going on a cruise with Norwegian anytime soon and you purchase that drink package and enjoy using it on the island, that's going to be a no. That's going to be a no. Let me see. I like that. I have a funny story. I'm going to read it. Budgeting by Dina. She said, I was duck hunting and unable to find any when the elevator door opened. Someone kicked out a duck. And even though I did not play baseball, I caught it. Talk about having your wish being handed to you. I like it. Now that's funny. I would have laughed at that too. That's a good one. That's a good one. Others, let me know one of your funniest cruise stories. So that was the first question I asked. Give me one of your funniest cruise stories. And I'm sorry, I had to tell you two of mine. Here's my next question for you. What's one thing you always pack for a cruise? Without fail, you don't care if the cruise is 1 day, 44 days, you're packing it. What's that one thing that you, and I'm not talking about like my underwear. I'm not talking about that other stuff. We all pack our clothes and our shoes and blah, blah, blah. But what's that one other thing that you pack when you're going on a cruise? I'm going to have to think about that one, because there's so many one things. And it's definitely changed over the years. What's the one thing? I'm going to tell my mom. My mom is usually cold on cruises. And that's not shocking, right? Because there's a lot of times on cruise lines that they're freezing, not everywhere, sometimes just in certain areas, but she usually finds them to be chilly. So one thing that she had started to pack, and that's recently, it's a neck heater. Now I know a lot of you know about neck fans, because a lot of us run hot. We're always, oh my gosh, it's so hot. And so now they have all these portable fans, and I definitely have one that I use. But my mom takes her neck heater, and people are like, oh, what's that? And a lot of people are really shocked when she says it's a heater. And they're like, oh, okay. But the one thing that you definitely always pack for on a cruise, and a lot of people I think are going to say fans, because because people find the rooms to run hot. Yeah. And then of course, if you're on a cruise where you're going anywhere where it's warm, getting off on those ports. And even this last one that I went on, standing in the terminal to get on for embarkation. Oh gosh, I was sweating so bad. People were looking at me like, oh, you gonna be okay? So yeah, I know a lot of people probably say fans. Tell me the one thing that you have to pack on your cruise. Thank you so much for those answers. Back to cruise news. Let me tell you some other things that are going on. We know about the nor'easter, that storm that's going up the northeast. So these cruise lines that are sailing out of the New York ports, they're kind of having a hard time. It says thousands of cruise passengers delayed in New York as nor'easter batters northeast. Now, I thought about it, and we've definitely been delayed on a cruise before. But if you're traveling, if you're going to jump in your car after you get off the cruise and go home, not so much of an issue. It could still be, but when you have to get some kind of connecting something like a plane, a train, something like that, it's a big deal. It can be a big deal, right? If you're going to be delayed. So I know that there are some people on pins and needles who are not happy, who are very upset. But what can you do with the weather? Nothing, nothing. And cruise lines have to make sure that they keep us safe. So they're going to avoid those storms. And there are several ships that are being affected. I know that the Symphony of the Seas is one, MSC Meraviglia is another. There's a Norwegian ship. Let me see. It says here cruise departures from New York area ports are on hold as a powerful nor'easter brings unsafe marine conditions and piloting services are temporarily suspended. So there's just nothing that they can do. Let me see which ones they tell me. Yeah, Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas. And it says it can have up to 5,518 passengers at double occupancy. It has been it has remained docked there at New Jersey at Cape Liberty. Now, this was supposed to set sail on October 12th for a 7-night Bahamas cruise. Now, today is the 14th. Yeah, so they're thinking that it should have left today. It says here October 14th that it would try to leave. In Brooklyn, MSC Cruises, MSC Meraviglia has also been forced to remain docked. This ship carries up to 5,642 passengers, and it was supposed to leave October 12th for a 7-night Bahamas cruise, but they had to remain docked there. And then, yes, Norwegian's Getaway. Docked at the Manhattan Cruise Terminal, it has just over 3,900 passengers, and it was also set to sail on October 12th for a 7-night New England cruise. So all of these have had to adjust their itineraries. So I don't know. Have you ever had to stay docked? Just, you were supposed to take off, but you couldn't. You just stayed docked. Yeah, that would be, I don't know. I'm sure that the cruise lines would do everything in their power to make sure that although you were probably very annoyed, you were still able to have a great time. The shows would go on, the food would go on, entertainment. I guess the only thing that wouldn't be able to continue would be like the casino or something like that. Yeah. So they're doing this to keep them safe. And hopefully by today, because this was 2 days ago, this information came out, that by now the impact should be less, they should be able to take off now. It says that there were waves crashing up and pummeling the shores 8 to 15 feet high. So the cruises, they couldn't take off. And, we don't want it to be another documentary drama about this cruise left in bad weather and the people got sick and things tipped over, and we don't want that. So a little inconvenience. Yeah. Have you ever been delayed because of weather? Yeah. On your cruise. We were delayed, all the years of cruising, we have not. That's God, that's a blessing. Thank you. But we were delayed. It was only a slight delay because of fog. A lot of times in Galveston, there's fog. We still left on time, but it was a slight delay. But nothing like this. So very sorry if any of you have been affected or your loved ones. That means you're probably going to have to do some fancy footwork, possibly if you got to connect or it's going to be late. But I'm sure they're going to compensate some kind of way, which they don't have to, because I've read the cruise contract to you before. They don't have to, but they want to keep us happy. They want to keep us coming back. So that's what's going on with the weather. Okay, I asked you, what's one thing you always pack for a cruise? Here's my next question, and it's the last question. I have some other things I'm going to throw at you, but the last question. I asked you, give me your funniest story. Tell me the one thing you have to pack. Here's the third one. What's your best cruise tip for first-time cruisers? If you were going to sit down on your own YouTube channel and say, hey, first-time cruisers, I have a tip for you that you're going to need to know. What would be your best first-time tip? Best tip for first-time cruisers. I'm going to stick with what I said all along. Go a day ahead, at least a day ahead. Don't go the day of your cruise. Even like these storms, there's just so much that happens. There's just so much that goes on. Unexpected stuff, wild stuff, shutdowns, accidents, weather, just too much to name. And it just gives you a peace of mind to get to wherever you're going, even if you live there. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area metroplex, and Galveston's 4.5 hours away. We still go the day before. There's just too much going on. get to where you're going to go the day before. So you can maybe stay in a hotel, or if you have family there, stay with friends, stay in a hotel. Start your vacation a day early. And that way you are there. So it just lessens the odds that something weird or strange will happen, that you will miss your cruise, part of it, some of it, all of it. Yeah. Being delayed is no fun. It just puts all that pressure. You're not supposed to be under pressure on your vacation. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. Weather. Yep. Weather will do it. It's weather every time. I mean, there's been some really other weird stuff that has made people delayed, but weather's the big one. So my biggest tip to first time cruisers, it's still the same thing that I've been preaching for the longest: go a day early. Make that as part of your cruise budget. Like, you mean I'm going to have to spend money on a hotel? Yeah, it's worth it. And so that you have that peace of mind, and you're there. And like I said, you can start your cruise a day early. But I'm interested to see what you say would be the one piece of advice you'd give to those new cruisers. All right. Here's more cruise news. Cruise lines give construction update for first new ship in 25 years. So this cruise line that I'm going to talk to you about, they haven't had a new ship in 25 years. Oh my gosh. We can't even imagine, right? All these new big beautiful ships that are coming out, and huge mega ships and all this. And this company hasn't had one in 25 years. We're talking about Crystal Cruises. Remember them? Yeah. Crystal, which is one of the leading luxury cruise lines in the world, is building their first new cruise ship in 25 years. I remember several years ago, we went to a cruise. Well, it's probably more than several now. We went to a cruise show. It was like a travel agency had opened up their whole offices and everything, and they were having this cruise show, and they had all these cruisers there. And I remember the sweet, very sophisticated but sweet young lady who was there from Crystal Cruises, and she was just adorable. She was lovely. And her demeanor and the way she presented it just made you like, man, I want to go on a Crystal cruise. We had never heard of it before, and we were determined we needed to go Crystal. So this makes me smile. It says, this morning, so that's October 14th, the company announced that the start of construction on the first of these new ships, it'll take place beginning in May of 2026. So still almost a year away, but at least they're doing it. And that's when the first piece of steel will be cut. And it says here, December 2026 will be the official start of construction, when the blocks begin to be put together. So it's still over a year away that this is going to start. But, they're making the plans and letting us all know about it now. They have not announced what the name of this new ship will be, and they have not even announced the inaugural sailing or the itinerary yet. They just have given us a wet or whistle, a little taste for more, just by telling us, guess what? We're going to make some new cruise ships. It says that they're going to be letting us know very soon that the ship is scheduled to debut in 2028. So it's still a ways away, but you can start booking the cruise spring of 2026. So next year, next March or April, you can start booking this cruise. It won't be out to 2028, but that's exciting, something to look forward to. And you can be one of the first to book this cruise line that hasn't had a new ship in 25 years. So that's kind of exciting, right? Crystal Cruises, good for you. We like, excuse me, we like seeing new ships. We like that. We like choices, and we like seeing good things happening for the cruise industry. We're tired of hearing about all the bad stuff, right? Mm-hmm. My dad is not a cruiser. And sometimes when we start talking about our cruises that we're going to go on, and he comes out with all the bad stuff. Are you kidding? This and this happened. And I'm like, Dad, that's just like anywhere else. That kind of stuff happens on land too. And we don't, the rest. So I want to hear something good with cruising. And that's a good story. So yeah. All right. I'm still looking to read your responses to my questions, but I have more questions for you now. This is not so much questions. This is trivia. I want to know who is the trivia king or queen for tonight. Do you know this stuff? And if you do, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you know you're the king or the queen tonight. Here are some questions, and you can't cheat. Don't look it up. Don't Google it. Don't ask your computer. Don't look on your phone. Just do you know these? All right, number one. Which cruise line was the first to offer an ice skating rink on board? I'm going to start easy. You get extra points if you tell me what cruise ship that was and what year. You get extra points. But the question is, which cruise line was the first to offer an ice skating rink on board? And extra points for the name of the ship and the year. Do you know? Do you know? I had to look this up. Boy, this is pretty interesting. Have you ever been on a cruise ship with an ice skating rink? And have you seen the shows? Because they're spectacular, right? I even follow this one young lady on YouTube, and she's one of the performers, the ice skating performers. And I just never knew how exciting it would be to sit back and watch a day in the life of an ice skating performer on a cruise ship. Fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. So drop it down in the comments. I'm going to, of course, answer it in a little bit. Okay, here we go. All right, next cruise news story. Let's make it something festive. Let's make it something festive. We're going over to Carnival Cruise Lines, and we're listening to what Mr. John Held, the brand ambassador, has told us about holiday decorations. And I mean, some people are like, so what? But I think it's adorable. It's getting close to that time of year again. It's the middle of October, and they will be doing all across all fleets, decorating the ships for the holidays, and in particular, Christmas. So John Held has taken to social media to let us know the schedule. So I want to just share that with you. Holiday decorating will begin in November. So that's what, today's the 14th, 2 weeks away. They're going to begin decorating cruise ships in November. So here is the rollout. It says the first ships confirmed to set sail with the full holiday decorations are November 21st, so it's the late part of November, Carnival Adventure, Carnival Encounter, Carnival Luminosa, and Carnival Splendor. That's November 21st, Adventure, November 22nd, Encounter, November 23rd, Luminosa, November 24th, Splendor. It says the decorating schedule will ramp up even more in December, of course, with most ships scheduled to be fully festive in the first full week of the month. So if you are looking to add that, that's something that makes it a little more special to wait till the ships are fully decorated. Now you know, win the book, at least for Carnival. All of them will do it differently. It says other ships receiving their holiday decorations in late November and early December include, and I have a list here. November 28th, it will be the Carnival Conquest and the Carnival Glory. So is that Thanksgiving or the day after? I think that's the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah. November 29th will be the Carnival Dream, Radiance, Magic, Mardi Gras, Jubilee, Paradise, and Vista. That's November 29th. November 30th is Celebration, Elation, Horizon, Liberty, Miracle, Panorama, Pride, Spirit, and Venezia. That's November 30th. December 1st is The Breeze, Freedom, and Firenze. And then December 4th is Legend, Sunrise, and Valor. Yes. So let's see. It looks like the latest is December 4th. Let me make sure that's correct, that I stated here. Yeah, the latest that I see right now is December 4th. So by December 4th, all the ships in the Carnival fleet should be fully decorated for the Christmas holiday. So that's kind of nice. Those extra special pictures that you can get and the music and all that, if you like that kind of stuff, which I do. Have you ever cruised through the holidays? On the big days, on Thanksgiving or Halloween or Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve? And was it special? Did they do something that made it extra special if you were there on the holidays besides the decorations? We have never cruised on the holidays, but we've definitely cruised during the Christmas season. One of the cutest things, I don't, once again, at this time, I'm not sure which island it was, but when we got off to go on an excursion, there was an island and the music was blasting, as the music usually is when you get off. And the song was called Santa Needs a Wife. And they had their little Caribbean accent. And he was like, Santa needs a wife. Santa needs a wife. We were all walking down. Santa needs a wife. I'm like, what happened to Mrs. Claus? I don't know. But it's really cute, really cute to have the decorations for the holidays. So there you go. In case you needed to know, that's the schedule for Christmas time. Can you believe it? We're already talking about Merry Christmas. This year is going quickly. All right, I had a question for you. That question is, which cruise line was the first to offer an ice skating rink on board? Did you answer me? That is Royal Caribbean. That is correct. I said you get extra points if you knew the ship and the year. Most people don't. It was the Voyager of the Seas way back in, I think Prince said it the best, 1999. The ice skating rink was debuted on the Voyager of the Seas back in 1999. Did you know that one? Give yourself a point if you knew that one, and then you get 2 extra points if you got the others correct. 3 points for that one. Here's the next question. Which cruise port is the busiest in the world? I'm sure you know this one. This is another easy one. Which cruise port is the busiest in the world? Yep. But I'm going to give you some figures as well. And I'm pretty sure you've cruised out of that port if you've ever, cruised. It's the busiest in the world. All right. Let me give you some more cruise news. Here's a cute one. What happens to cruising ducks if they're not found? You ever thought about that? We know that one of the things that is like a tradition in cruising is to hide cruise ducks. And it's just a cute little tradition. And ducks come in all shapes and sizes and colors, and people get really into it. I'm telling you, duck parties and duck hunt. It's a fun little tradition. You do not have to participate, but why not? It's fun. So you get the cute little cruise ducks and you can write things on them and tell people to keep them or tell them you've blessed them with it or share it. Cruising ducks, right? But what happens to all of those sad little ducks who don't get found? What happens? You bring your 24 cruising ducks and you are so excited because you strategically placed them everywhere around the ship. And then you get off 7 days later or 10 days later. And did people find all of your ducks? Well, what happens to them? Well, people went online and asked that very question. Now, some people are smart Alex, right? Some people are you-know-whats, and they had very interesting answers to say, well, they go to heaven or they do a seance or silly things. But what really happens is nothing. Nothing. They leave them there for the most part, unless it's in an area that they have to clean or they have to move it or it's a hazard for some reason. Otherwise, they leave them there for the next set of people. So those ducks, just imagine, could be there for a long time if they're not found. Yeah. It also says that sometimes the crew members themselves take the ducks and put them in their room, just to add just a little bit of fun or, festivity to their own room. Now, their rooms are really, really, really small, cramped quarters most of the time. So they just don't have the room for big, awkward or things of that nature, but a small little duck. Yeah. So sometimes the crew, they keep them themselves, but the answer is nothing. Those cruise ducks just stay there. And if they're not found, then hopefully others come on the next sailing and pick them up. Yeah. I have another question about cruise ducks. Do you keep the ducks that you find? Do you take them and take them home with you? You pack them away? Or do you put them back? Do you share them? I've done both. I think it's a really fun tradition and I enjoy doing it. All right, here's the answer to that question that I just asked you. I said, which cruise port is the busiest in the world? Do you know the answer to this one? Let me see. Oh, I'm almost losing no, let me get back. The answer is Port Miami. Port Miami, the busiest cruise port in the world. It says here that 8.23 million passengers went through the Port of Miami, and that was back in 2024. So I'm going to guess that a whole lot more went this year or will go this year. 8.23 million people. passengers. Wow, that's a lot. Have you cruised out of Miami? Hmm. Miami has a very different vibe and flavor of the cruise port, and it's probably because it's the busiest in the world. And they have it going most of the times like a well-oiled machine. And I'm very I am very grateful for that. You've probably been to a cruise port that was not run like a well-oiled machine, and it was a problem. So thank you, Port Miami. You are the biggest in the world, and you know how to do it and do it well. So there you go. My next question before I get on to the next cruise news story is this is a good one. What's the average speed of a cruise ship in knots? Knots? Knots landing? I'm showing my age, knots landing. What's the average speed of a cruise ship in knots? Because, they say this many knots, that many knots. Well, what's the average speed of a cruise ship in knots? Let me know if you know that one. Okay, move out of the way. And I'm going to give you the answer shortly. My next cruise news story says Carnival Cruise Line visits a cruise port in Mexico for the first time in 15 years. This took me all the way back to my childhood when I heard the name of this cruise port, all the way back. When I was a little kid, once again, showing my age, which is fine, one of the things that would come on television, like prime time, it was two shows, and I would wait to watch these shows. One was called Fantasy Island, and the other was called The Love Boat. Fantasy Island and The Love Boat, that was 2 hours of great entertainment fun. We'd all sit and watch it. Yeah. So this made me think about those days because this Mexican port is Acapulco. Acapulco. Carnival Cruise Line returned to a Mexican cruise port for the first time in 15 years, and it was because of a change in weather. They had to divert to this port because they weren't going. The Carnival Legend made a surprise visit to Acapulco, Mexico today. This cruise ship was on a 16-day repositioning cruise, and it made this unscheduled stop in Acapulco due to weather. Now, the ship is expected to continue on to the rest of the planned itinerary, and they're going to stop in like Costa Rica, Cartagena, Colombia, Grand Cayman, and finally, they're going to end right here in Texas, in Galveston, on October 22nd. But they made a stop in Acapulco. Have you ever been to Acapulco? Yeah. The last time that Carnival Cruise Line visited Acapulco was in 2010. Now, they will be going back to Acapulco in 2027. It's going to be the Carnival Legend, the ship that went there this time, when they do a Journeys cruise. And their Journeys cruises are longer cruises, 16-day, 14-day cruises that reposition. They're going to be going back to Acapulco then. This cruise will leave out April 4th of 2027. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I used to hear that name Acapulco, and I thought back then when I was so young that was so exotic and so like, oh, only rich, super rich people in the stars go there. I remember that because all the stars would come on the Love Boat and they'd go to Acapulco. So I thought that was really cool. I would not mind going to Acapulco on a cruise ship at all. I don't know why they stopped. If you do, let me know down there in the comments. But I thought that was kind of fun and a blast from the past. Have you ever been to Acapulco? Let us know in the comments. Is it nice? Is it a place worth visiting? I would like to go. All right. I asked let me see. What's the average speed of a cruise ship in knots? What's a knot? We were on a cruise recently, and that was one of the jokes that the comedian had. It was funny. Knots. The answer is 18 to 22 knots. Did you know that? 18 to 22 knots, which is about, now you get extra points if you know what that equates to in miles per hour. I didn't say that. I'm saying it now. 18 to 22 knots. Do you know what that is in miles per hour? I do, because it's right here. 20 to 25 miles per hour. So the cruise ship travels an average of 20 to 25 miles per hour on the sea. Sometimes, doesn't it feel like it's going so fast? I mean, sometimes it feels like it is zipping along. And then other times you go out there and it's like, oh, it's so slow and peaceful. Well, those knots, 18 to 22, are about 20 to 25 miles per hour. All right. Next question. Next question. Let me know if you're getting these right. What's the term for the left side of a ship when facing forward? So the ship's facing forward, and we're talking about the left side. What's the term for the left side of the cruise ship? I'm not going to answer. Yeah. What's the term for the left side? I'm sorry, give me a second here. I am looking at, I'm getting distracted. Yes, I'm looking at some of my responses here. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay. Some more cruise news stories. The voting has now opened for the 2025 Cruise Hive Awards. Which cruise lines deserve to win? And I'm going to open this up and we're going to see like, what are the awards? It says the Cruise Hive Awards is reader driven, and it's the annual ranking of the best of the best. What we as cruisers experience and what we love about cruising. So the voting is now open, but you can only cast one vote in each category. So let's talk about this. You do not, however, have to vote in every category if you don't want to, but you can. Voting will close on Christmas Eve. So we have until now and Christmas Eve to vote. And it says the winners will be announced the following week. Okay. So some of the things that, will make the list are the best cruise ship features of 2025. Think about all the new gadgets and gizmos and upgrades that have come out so far for cruising in just 2025. It says here they're filled with amazing features, and that's very true, from pools and water slides to dry slides, unique spaces, thrill rides, and much more. Some of the offerings on cruise ships now rival, an amusement park. There's so much. It says so much that we've limited the voting to the newest and most popular option from each cruise line. So they give you an example. MSC's Cruises adrenaline-inducing Cliffhanger and Royal Caribbean's daring Crown's Edge. So the two ships have these rides that you can hang off the edge. Like, do we really want to do that on our cruise ships? And the answer seems to be yes. So the Crown's Edge, you kind of like tightrope walking, you're harnessed it in on the top, and then you swing around and on the top edge of the ship. And then the Cliffhanger MSC's ride, it's like a swing ride that swings you out over the side of the ship. Yeah, those are some of the ones. In 2024, Bolt roller coaster, it took top honors, as it should. That thing is so powerful. When you're standing up there on the deck and it comes by, it's like, oh, the power behind that, a roller coaster at sea. It says the best U.S. cruise home ports. Which one would you consider? I'd love to know. What are your thoughts? What's, of all the ones you've been on, what's the best cruising home port? What's the worst that you've been to? Embarkation and debarkation at a home port can make or break a cruise vacation. That's kind of true. If it's a really crappy, start to your cruise and it's a lot of hassle and trouble, and same thing on the end, it just kind of takes something out of it, right? Yeah. You don't want it to ruin your whole cruise, but it can dang near come close. So, yeah. So which U.S. home port does it the best? And it says in the last 5 times, the winner of that has been Port Canaveral. I could see why. The best cruise line app. Uh-oh, it says I'm running low here. Why is my battery running low? Oh, because it's not plugged in. Hold on a second. There we go. All this technology. Got to keep it plugged in. Okay. Port Canaveral has taken these honors for the last 5 times. Yep. So if it wins, they said it'll be the 6P. I think I already said that. And then the best cruise line app. Which one would you consider to be the least clunky, the one that has the easiest interface? You can get on and off the quickest. You can scroll the easiest. Which would you consider the best cruise line app? And then the best cruise line private island or the best destinations. Do you cruise right now for the ship or for the destinations? Which one makes which one is the bigger decision maker for you? Do you go and look up your next cruise based on the ship that you want to sail on or based on the itinerary? I'd love to know. It's definitely changed for us. Some of the destinations offer very relaxed, chill vibes, while others have more exciting things like water parks, swim up bars, swinging pools, not swinging pools, swings on the pools. So, which one? It says here Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay has been the undisputed winner, and that's who won back in 2024. They love that island. And then the best overall cruise ship, the best. Think of all the cruise ships that are out there. Oh my gosh. You know, what's the best? Even if you're loyal to Royal or you're a Carnival fan or Norwegian or Celebrity, let's say you're loyal to one brand, but which ship? Which is the best overall cruise ship? Some people prefer a bigger vessel. Others prefer a smaller vessel. Do you like the newest cruise ships that are out there? Or do you kind of like the tried and true, the classics? They're all eligible. So it says make sure that you enter. You have to put the ship's complete name because there might be some confusion. Like they give you the example of don't put the Magic because there's a Disney Magic, there's a Carnival Magic. Don't put Star because there's a Star of the Seas, there's a Star Princess, there's a Norwegian Star. Put the whole name. And then the best overall cruise line. Now you can say your favorite cruise line. Which one is it for you? The best new cruise ship. And there's been, oh my gosh, there's been so many. And then how about the most anticipated new cruise? Let me tell you the answer for me for that most anticipated new cruise. It's the Icon class ship that finally home ports in Texas. That's what I'm waiting for. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, please. What I envision, what I want is for larger cruise ships to come here, newer cruise ships to come here that have all the bells and whistles and do longer itineraries. We over here who cruise out of Galveston are really desperately seeking other places to go than the 5 places that we get to go on these 7 and 8 day cruises. So it would have to be a longer itineraries, 14, 16 days so that we can zip around to other areas. And we want the newest, latest, greatest model like everybody else. That's my most anticipated. I don't know what ship that is, but I'm waiting for you. I'm ready. I want to spend my money on you. Come to me. So there you go. So look at, that was on Cruise Hive. So check it out if you would like to cast your vote because we all have opinions and we love to share them. So it's time to do that. So go to the Cruise Hive Awards and give your responses for this. This would be a lot of fun to put your favorite cruise line, cruise ship, cruise adventure, cruise island. Yeah. It's now open up until December 24th. Yeah. Okay, let me answer the question that I gave you. What is the term for the left side of the ship when facing forward? You know this one? It's called port. I think of a port window. Port. Here's another one. Ready? What's the name of the loyalty program for Carnival Cruise Line? Then I'm going to jump into a story about this. What's the name of the loyalty program for Carnival Cruise Lines? And this has been in the news lately so much, cruise news, so you probably know. But there's like more to that story, right? What's the name? Anybody? Yes. Carnival's loyalty program is called you can say 2 different things, VIFP, or you can say the Very Important Fun Person. That's actually what it's called, the VIFP, or Very Important Fun Person Program. But as you might know, that's what it's called currently. It is getting ready to change to a new name. Do you know what that new name is? This is going to be effective June 1st of 2026. And it has a lot of people scrambling to move into the next tier of loyalty because it's moving from more of a rewards program to a spend program. It's not going to just be based on how many cruises you've been on. It's going to be based on how much you spend, So it's going to change. And a lot of loyal Carnival fans are not happy. So Carnival is trying to do something to keep their most loyal fans happy, their diamonds and part of their platinums. So in June, this is going to be called the Carnival Rewards Program. Yeah, because it's going to reward you for spending the money, not for your loyalty. What do you think about that? Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to shut this part down over here now. No, don't save. So, did you get all of those right? Remember, I said, whoever got all of those right, I want you to put on your crown because you are the king or the queen of that. I didn't know all of those myself. I had to look it up. I'm a travel advisor. I'm a cruiser from way back. And I was like, let me check it out. And I certainly didn't know the knots, what that one was. So you learn something new. Who knew you'd come on to a Tuesday Night Live with me and you're going to learn some cruise trivia? Are you a trivia person? We love trivia on a cruise ship. I don't know what it is. You get so competitive. we partner up with the other competitive, not the cheaters. I don't want to deal with you cheaters. But the ones who are competitive and we don't cheat and we know the answers, man, that is so exhilarating. That's fun. Yeah, I digress. But are you a cruise trivia person? My mother is not. She doesn't particularly care for them, but she's like, okay, babies, I'll go with you. She goes with us anyway. Do you like the cruise trivia? I have one more cruise news story for you, and then we are going to go and meet back here again next Tuesday. And I thank all of you for the super chats, the super likes, the super thanks. I thank you so much. I hope I told you that. I thank you for spending your time with me on a Tuesday night. Let me tell you this story. It says 2025 has brought with it very high profile bankruptcies. So they're talking about in 2025, you probably heard that Spirit Airlines filed bankruptcy, and Great Little Escapes, which is a British travel company, they filed for bankruptcy. Well, Jet Holidays closed down operations a few weeks later. So they're saying that there's a bunch. But let's see who's shutting down now. It's a small cash flow problem. Cruise line running tours to Antarctica under bankruptcy. It doesn't say the name. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called Explorus. I've never heard of it before. Explorus Expeditions and Voyages. Have you ever heard of Explorus Expeditions and Voyages? They're based out of France, and that might be why I've never heard of it. They have decided to file Chapter 11 in the US, and it says they have a cash flow problem and they're just not able to continue running. Unfortunately, we have a small cash flow problem that has been exacerbated by this last minute cancellation by a major charterer, which has made things extremely difficult for us. This cruise line launched back in 2022, and they run a single ship on expeditions to Antarctica from Argentina. It's enough for 144 passengers and 102 crew members. So a very small boutique kind of cruise line. They are filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And we hate to hear, I mean, it might be one that you never heard of before. It might be one that you'd never go on, but we still hate to hear about a cruise line shutting down. But sometimes that's what they have to do, especially a smaller organization, right? And then we have some that are ramping up. Explorer Journeys, another ultra luxury cruise line, and they're owned by the same family as MSC Cruise Lines. They own Explorer Journeys. So Explorer is like their ultra luxury brand. MSC is their mainstream brand. And Explorer is their ultra luxury. Well, they're getting ready to add another ship to this ultra luxury brand. Right now, they currently have an Explorer 1 and Explorer 2. And like I say, it's ultra luxury, high-end cruising. And now they're going to add an Explorer 3. And so some are thriving. They're getting ready to add these new ships and put builds in. But sometimes the other ones, especially the smaller ones, they're not doing as well. So we're sorry to hear that. I think I have filled you in on all of the cruise news that I wanted to add tonight. Let me make sure My mouse died. I'm sorry. There we go. That could be what they were saying when it said, I'm still learning how to use, I bought a new mouse, and it's cool and all that. Technology is great until it doesn't work. But I think it's catching up. Okay. I think I have said all of my cruise news for tonight, and I have given you all of the answers. I hope that you have had some fun with me tonight. I hope that you got a chance to put your answers down in the cruise chat. I would love it if you hopefully are already a member of the channel. Subscribe costs you absolutely nothing. Tap down, of course, on the notification bell. Then that way, when I put out new videos, you'll know. I have a lot of new videos coming out. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately and a lot more coming. Also, I would love it if you would want to support the channel in any other way. Take a look down in the description, all kind of ways. We have a store that you can shop at through Amazon. We have a store where you can get Right Recipe for Travel merch. Always super chat, super likes, super thanks. But you can do free stuff too. Watch the videos. Watch the videos. And I really thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is time to say goodbye until next Tuesday. I really enjoyed giving you this trivia and, of course, giving up the cruise news because that's just what I do. All right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Bye, everybody. I'm going to see you next Tuesday. Bye.